Well, we're getting ready now for our keynote speaker and our Kwanzaa breakdown, coming to you from the spiritual leader of the Al-Qubulan Revivalist movement, Brother Ldr Mbandaka. And the keynote speaker today will be all about the Kwanzaa principles and Pan-Africanism and the importance of connecting with the African diaspora.
Tenai mwari, mwari mokorokoro, mwari mokorokoro, mwari mokorokoro, kudzai mudzimu mokoro, kudzai mudzimu mokoro, kudzai mudzimu mokoro, tendai mwari, tendai mwari, tendai mwari. Regai mazwi andi notaura ne pungwa zemuyo mangu, zinzikwe ne mwari. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Jah of our creation. Tendai mwari, mwari kumbore rai Africa, ngai simuzire zitarayo, nzwai mitero yedu, isumriayo, itumriako, uyamweya, komborere, uyamweya, muzvene, isumriayo, itumriako. Tendai mwari, tendai mwari, tendai mwari, mwari Jah, God bless Africa. Lift up the name of Africa on high. Hear our humble prayers, O mwari, O Jah. We, the family of Africa, we, this family of Africa, come, Great Spirit, come. Come and bless us. Come, Great Spirit, come. Come and be with us, we the family of Africa, we this family of Africa. Tendai mwari, tendai mwari, tendai mwari. Yeah. Royal elders, queens and kings, princesses and princes of great Mama Africa, I bring greetings in the most precious, powerful and bountiful name of our motherland, Al-Qubulan, Mama Africa, in the sacred spirits of our most gracious ancestors, and in a prayer for oneness, hope, and prosperity for all African people upon the face of Mother Earth. Rumbidzo kuna mwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Giving thanks and praises unto Mwari Nyakusika, God the creator of the universe, through Mudzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors, for life, for the meaning and purpose of life, for health and strength and daily food, for the rising of Amen Ra, the sun, upon this day, this blessed day of Imani. We give thanks and praises for the principles of Ma'at, truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order, and for the principles of Jehuti, wisdom, knowledge, and overstanding, keen insight, exceptional perception, and authoritative utterance of the power of the word. Giving thanks and praises unto Mwari Nyakusika, God the creator of the universe, the African God who reigns supreme, for all mercies great and small. And amongst those mercies, for this great occasion that has brought us here gathered strong, this BLACKTRICITY event, the current of BLACKTRICITY, which connects the African world, the African diaspora, bringing energy to the entire African world. We give thanks for this event and for the invitation of God Kush in conjunction with, approved by the Ghanaian government and in conjunction with the Ghana Beyond Return event, that very successful event of 2019, where millions of African people converged on the land, the motherland, through Ghana, to celebrate our people's return. Before I go any further, beloved brothers and sisters, let me offer condolence as I bring greetings on behalf of the Al-Kebalan Revivalist movement, of which I am blessed to be its spiritual leader. I wish to offer condolence to the family and close friends of the son of the prophet, the son of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Marcus Garvey III, who only a few days ago exited our earthly company to ascend to the realm of the ancestors. To his wife, his beloved queen, we send our blessings, we send our love, and we send our healing meditation also to his brother Julius and to the rest of the entire family. We are richly blessed, and I am richly blessed, to bring a message to you in context with Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa 6260. We don't say 2020, beloved brothers and sisters, because we know the power of defining time and space and circumstances. And we understand that our ancestors, our great ancestors of the Nile Valley, updated and upgraded the solar calendar 6,260 years ago. Therefore, this year, in terms of the measurement of time according to the solar calendar of our ancient ancestors, is the year 6260. In the very short time that I have with you, beloved brothers and sisters, I would like to share with you the concept of Kwanzaa, the celebration of Kwanzaa, and what it means to us all as Africans around the world. Let me emphasize that Kwanzaa is a Pan-African celebration and observance. And I will, in due course, brothers and sisters, break down what we mean by Pan-African. But suffice to say that Kwanzaa is a Pan-African holiday, a holiday and festive celebration of the African family, community, and culture. We're celebrating the African family, community, and culture. The word Kwanzaa comes from a Kiswahili word, one of the most popular and widespread language on the African continent. And it means first. Kwanzaa means first. And this event called Kwanzaa, brothers, or this word, Kwanzaa, which means first, comes from the expression matunda ya Kwanzaa. Matunda ya Kwanzaa, first fruits of the harvest. Now let me say, beloved brothers and sisters, we give thanks for the organization that brought Kwanzaa to Africans in America, and which duly spread throughout the African diaspora and even onto the continent of Africa, linking the continent of Africa with its children around the diaspora. The first Kwanzaa was celebrated in 1966 by an organization in the United States of America called US, under the leadership and inspiration of Baba Maulana Karenga. They were concerned, and we must appreciate the context of the time. This was in the middle of the decade of worldwide revolution for African people rising up in the United States of America and around the world to throw off the yoke of oppression. The history of oppression, of exploitation, of degradation, of racial repression. In that context, the US organization interrogating the conditions of African people and what it is that we need to do to liberate ourselves, came to the understanding, came to the realization that, in their words, the key crisis in black life was the culture crisis. It was a crisis of identity, a crisis of views and values, a crisis of understanding our own African worldview and where we fit into that world, a crisis of understanding the realities that confronted us and as a people, and what it is that we needed to do, what it is that should be our priorities in empowering and liberating ourselves. They therefore took it upon themselves, a delegation from that organization, that blessed and visionary organization, traveled to the motherland, to the African continent, to the source, to study the culture, the traditions of our people, but in particular, the celebratory traditions. And it is through that exploration and that investigation that they derived elements from the different traditions. I didn't say tribes, brothers and sisters, I said traditions of the African continent, indigenous traditions, which was distilled into the celebration of Kwanzaa. The date that was chosen for the observance of Kwanzaa was thus the 26th of December to the 1st of January, making Kwanzaa a 7-day festive observance and celebration. Kwanzaa was based upon what was called the Nguzo Saba, what is called the Nguzo Saba. Nguzo Saba means 7 principles. Within the Al-Kebalan revivalist movement, we say the 7 life principles, to emphasize that these are principles that we ought to live every single day of our lives, not just regurgitate at the end of the year during the 7-day celebration of Kwanzaa, but to live those principles. And these principles are as follows: Umoja, unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves, instead of being defined, named, created for, and spoken for by others. Ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Ujama, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own shops, stores, businesses, and industries, and profit from them together. Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building of our community in order to restore our people to our traditional greatness. Kuumba, creativity, to always do as much as we can in the best way we can in order to restore, to make our community more beautiful and more beneficial than we inherited it. Imani, faith, to believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, may I add with emphasis, our Creator, our ancestors, and the righteousness and victory of our fight. Those are the powerful principles that undergird the celebration of Kwanzaa between the 26th of December and the 1st of January. Now, I stated, brothers and sisters, that these are life principles. These are not just principles for us to swat at the end of the year and memorize and recite vainly and idly, brothers and sisters. But they are principles that we must practice in our daily lives, so that by practicing those principles individually and collectively, within our families, our communities, our organizations, our institutions, it guarantees us at the end of the year that we as a people, individually and collectively, would be able to qualify and quantify our productive and creative achievements. And that is what we celebrate at the end of the year. It is not an occasion for just vain and empty ritualizing or vain and empty reveling. It is a deep and meaningful expression of our African dignity and our African purpose, our African consciousness. Tendai Mwari. So the Nguzo Saba, the 7 life principles, is what inspires us during Kwanzaa. There are 7 symbols of Kwanzaa. And the practices of Kwanzaa revolve around the symbols as well as the Nguzo Saba. These 7 symbols, and let me emphasize that during Kwanzaa, we are required to mount a shrine in our homes and in our community spaces for our collective gatherings, whether the gathering of the family in the home or the gathering of the communal family in our communal spaces. And we have 7 principles that we, or 7 principles that we mount symbolically, we have 7 symbols that we mount on the shrine. First and foremost, the mkeka, the straw mat, which represents our foundation as a people, our source as a people. It also, therefore, represents the earth as our foundation. The mkeka, the straw mat. All of the symbols of the shrine are mounted on the mkeka, which is usually placed on a table, preferably a round table representing the cycle of life, but any shape will do, beloved brothers and sisters. Then we have the kinara, which is the candle holder. The candle holder, again, which is founded on the mkeka, erected on the mkeka, represents African parenthood, African ancestry. So we have the foundation, our divine source, our earthly source, represented in the mkeka, which provides the foundation. And then we have the kinara, which stands on the mkeka, that represents parental and ancestral sources. We place in the kinara the candle holder, which holds 7 candles. We place 7 candles, the Mshuma Saba. Each of the Mshuma Saba represents one of the principles of Kwanzaa, one of the principles of the Nguzo Saba, starting with Umoja. These candles are in the colors of red, black, and green, and I'll say a bit more about the significance of the colors. But in the middle is the black candle. I should say black, red, and green. In the middle is the black candle. On the right of the shrine are the red candles, and on the left are as the shrine faces us, beloved, are the green candles. And each day we light one of these candles. The 7 candles represents the Unguzo Saba, the 7 life principles. Each day we light one of the candles to illuminate the principle of the day. This is very profound, beloved brothers and sisters, because it connects us now with the next symbol, next important symbol, which is the Mohindi, the ears of corn, which represents our children. This is of profound importance because Maulana Karenga and the US organization emphasizes that the Kwanzaa celebration must revolve around the children. They must be the center of our focus. And this is symbolic in the lighting of the candle, because it is the children who light the candle with the guidance of the elders. In fact, the elders strike the match, pass it to the children. What this represents is the elders passing on the knowledge of and the wisdom of the Unguzo Saba to the children, who must then light the candle, which symbolically is a pledge that they will illuminate or make that principle illuminous in their lives. They are taking a pledge that they will shine the light of the Unguzo Saba in their lives. They will ensure that the light of Umoja, unity, Kujichagulia, self-determination, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, Ujama, cooperative economics, Nia, purpose, Kuumba, creativity, and Imani, faith, will be a light that will shine through them in all of their work, in all of their deeds. That creatively, artistically, academically, they will illuminate the light of the Unguzo Saba. There are 2 supplementary principles. Sorry, before I come to the supplementary principles. Then we have the Mazao, still with the 7 main principles. The Mazao, the basket of fruits, represents the harvest, because I should emphasize, beloved brothers and sisters, the harvest celebration. The celebration of Kwanzaa replicates harvest celebrations across the African continent. The celebration of the first yam festivals. There are many names across the length and breadth of the African continent for these first fruit celebrations. And beloved brothers and sisters, the basket of fruits represents our accomplishments, our harvesting, the harvesting of our accomplishments through the diligence of our work, our commitment, our unity throughout the year. So it's symbolic of all our creative and productive achievements and accomplishments, which are guaranteed, which are inevitable through the diligence of our work. The Kikombe cha Umoja, which is the unity cup, that symbolizes our unity, as the term suggests. We have a communion after we have poured libation, which is part of the sequence of rituals in the celebration of Kwanzaa. We come together, we open the event, we pour libation to Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors without whom we would not be here today. And then we move into our Mushuma Saba lighting, at the end of our sequence of rituals, we drink from the Kikombe Cha Umoja, starting with the eldest person in the room. We have communion with each other and with Mzuma Mokolo, our great ancestors, with the deities of Mama Africa and with the creator of the universe. It represents the binding spirit that empowers us as a people. Then there is the Zawadi, the gifts that we give our children during Kwanzaa. We give our children gifts, brothers and sisters, again, not as a vain and empty gesture. We give them gifts not just because it's Kwanzaa and you're due a gift at Kwanzaa. We give them gifts that are attributed to their accomplishments. So we identify the accomplishments that they have made, and we give them the gifts as a reward for what they have accomplished, for their discipline, for their hard work, for their good manners, for caring and sharing with each other, for looking after grandma, whatever good deeds they have done. We identify those good deeds and we give them a gift related to the specific achievements that they have made to encourage them to do good, to do positive, to be creative, to be productive in all aspects of life. There are two supplementary principles. The Bandera ya Taifa, which is the flag of unity in red, black, and green. Black, red, and green is the order for Kwanzaa, beloved brothers and sisters. And there we can see the influence of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and the UNIA organization that gave us the national flag of standard, the flag of the red, the black, and the green. We like to say RBG. But the order for Kwanzaa is black, red, and green. Black, symbolizing or representing our people in body and spirit. Red, representing our blood. The blood of our ancestors. The blood of those who have been martyred in the cause of our liberation is represented in the color red. It also represents the blood that we must shed for our liberation, for the cruel forces that would stand in the way of African liberation, that would threaten African lives as we seek to stand up and move forward for our liberation. And then the color green, representing the land, the fertility of the land, the richness of the soil. In the Al-Keblan Revivalist movement, we add two supplementary candles, two supplementary gold candles, representing the sun as a source of life and energy in the universe and light, and representing the riches of the earth, the gold, the diamond, the emerald, all of the riches, all of the rich resources of our motherland and all the lands that we as African people occupy throughout the world, but fundamentally our motherland, where the sun shines most prodigiously and where the majority of the world's most coveted resources lie under the earth, under the belly of Mama Africa, which is the reason why we as African people are under attack in our motherland and around the world, mainly because as the distinguished and erudite scholar, warrior scholar, Baba John Henry Clark says, mainly because we have and have always had something the world wants can't do without, and don't want to pay for. That's the wealth of the motherland, the earth of our motherland. The second supplementary principle is the Nguzo Saba poster. We have a poster of the Nguzo Saba that lays out the principles so that ones and ones can come in and can, especially those who are new to the celebration, can learn about the principles and what the principles mean. Tendai Mwari, and for those of you who don't know the words Tendai Mwari, spoken in the Shona language of Zimbabwe, means be thankful unto God, or thank God. And in the Al-Kebalan Revivalist movement, we are a liberation movement based on an African-centered spiritual cultural philosophy called Al-Kebalan Livity, which means living according to the divine teachings and traditions of our mother culture. Living according to the divine teachings and traditions of our mother culture. So we open speech, we close speech, and we punctuate the power of the word with the words Tendai Mwari. Be thankful unto God. So the first words that come out of our mouth, these are, even if we don't speak an African language. In the Al-Kebalan Revivalist movement, Al-Kebalanites have developed a discipline that when we should be speaking an African language. And so symbolically it represents the reclamation of our language, our tongue, and in that context, the reclamation of our divine source, calling on the Creator in an African name. Powerful, brothers and sisters. Let me quickly, because time is moving and passing as we say, but let me quickly, brothers and sisters, share with you what we mean by Pan-Africanism. As we say, brothers and sisters, Kwanzaa is a Pan-African celebration of the African family, community, and culture. It is a Pan-African celebration. The word Pan-African means all African. All African. Pan means all. All African. It also means one. All in one. All as one. So Pan-Africanism is defined, and we give thanks and praises to the pioneers of this great vision and philosophical ideal. The man, the great African warrior king who coined the term Pan-Africanism, Baba Henry Sylvester Williams, who formulated the Pan-African Association in 1897 in Trinidad and Tobago, and then called the first Pan-African Congress, or conference rather, ever in history in the year 1900, right here in the UK. And the purpose of calling that conference was to avert the scramble for Africa. That was his preoccupation and the preoccupation of many of his time. We will have to give thanks to the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for giving us for demonstrating and giving us the black print for the practice of Pan-Africanism. He demonstrated Pan-Africanism through the organization, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League of the World. Study the tradition, study the legacy, study the work of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and there you will find the black print. I didn't say blueprint now. I said the black print for our liberation. But what does Pan-Africanism mean? The definition I'm going to give you, beloved brothers and sisters, is partly that which came from the mouth and the pen and the wisdom, the sagacious mind of another great African warrior king, the Osajefo Kwame Nkrumah. But we have adapted it somewhat, beloved brothers and sisters. We've tweaked it a little bit. Pan-Africanism is the total liberation and unification of Africa and all African people under an autonomous Maatian world system. Now, Baba, the Osajefo Kwame Nkrumah would say under scientific socialism. But we have tweaked that. And we have replaced scientific socialism with autonomous Maatian world system. Ma'at is an African concept coming from the Nile Valley, not just Kemet, but the Nile Valley. The lands surrounding that 4,160 miles of water, river water running from the center, the East Central Africa, into Egypt and out of Egypt into the Mediterranean Sea. Tenaimwari. Pan-Africanism. When we talk about Ma'at means truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. Ma'at is the search for human perfection through practicing truth, justice, righteousness. Truth, the foundation, justice and righteousness, the pillar for building successful families and communities and nations. And if we have that foundation and its pillars, then we will have harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. The world we live in is in disorder because it's founded on lies. It's founded on injustice. It's founded on unrighteousness. The people who run the world, the people who rule society and rule the world, are unjust and unrighteous people. And that's why we have disharmony, imbalance, selfishness, and disorder right throughout the world, because the wrong people are running the world, beloved brothers and sisters. I said at the beginning that Kwanzaa means first fruits of the harvest. That concept reminds us Africans that we are the first fruits of Nyakusika, God the Creator's harvest of human creation. We are the first people of the first land. Africa, 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 the mother of creation and the cradle of civilization, the mother of human creation. We are the first people to come into being. So we are the first fruits of the harvest of Mwari Nyakusika, Nananyame, Oludumari, Mawu, Nkulunkulu, Nkosi, Nzambi, Mogai, Ngai. These are the many names for the Creator across the length and breadth of our beautiful and wonderful motherland. Tendai Mwari, there are three themes of Pan-Africanism. Three Garveyite themes of Pan-Africanism. As I said, brothers and sisters, Papa Garvey defined Pan-Africanism in a pragmatic way, in a practical way. He gave us the practical black print, the template for the practice of Pan-Africanism, and demonstrated through that our power potential. What are the three themes? Look to Africa. Look to Africa, brothers and sisters. Papa Garvey said, let Africa be your guiding star, your star of destiny. All Africans worldwide must therefore be Africa focused. We must look to Africa for culture. Look to Africa for spiritual direction. Look to Africa as our source. Look to Africa for inspiration. Look to Africa as our home. Look to Africa to reclaim her. Which leads us to the second principle, the second theme of Pan-Africanism. Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. Africa for the Africans, Papa Garvey said, those at home and those abroad. What did he mean? Africa belongs to us. As in the words of that great son of Africa, another warrior king, another giant of our history, Baba Patrice Lumumba, he said, this part of the world, Africa, is ours. And we are in fact its only masters. We are the only people on the planet who has the right to lay ownership to the motherland, Mama Africa. We are the only people on the planet who have the right to lay ownership to our land, our soil, our natural resources. Every African around the world has a right to claim indigenous ownership, indigenous status on the African continent. I want to call upon all of us to organize ourselves around how we are going to reclaim our motherland. Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. Kwanzaa inspires us to look to Africa. Kwanzaa inspires us to reclaim Africa. Africa for the Africans. The third theme. One Jah, one aim, one destiny. One Jah, one aim, one destiny. All African people around the world, we are one people. From one source, one divine source, one earthly source, with one aim, with one destiny. Papa Garvey used to say 400 million Africans, which was the estimated number of Africans on the planet at the time. If 400 million Africans would only get to know themselves, and in the next 24 hours, we would have a new race, a new nation, an empire resurrected. 24 hours he gave us. If all of us around the world, there's over 2 billion of us around the world today, if 2 billion Africans, 2 billion plus Africans around the world could only get to know ourselves, could only unite. This was in fact the motto of the UNIA, one God, one aim, one mwari, one nyanyanyame, one Olodumare, one Nkulunkulu, one God, one aim, one destiny. If we could only, which reinforces the first principle of Kwanzaa, umoja, unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Beloved, beautiful sons and daughters of Africa, it is such a blessing and an honor to serve the most beautiful and most important people on the face of the earth. You, the sons and daughters of Africa, let this Kwanzaa inspire us to come together as one people. engaging in ideas as to how we are going to empower ourselves, how we are going to empower ourselves through loving each other more and more and more, strengthening each other, beloved brothers and sisters, building institutions that will drive us towards fulfilling our needs, enhance our own agency. Let this Kwanzaa inspire us, beloved, beautiful sons and daughters of Africa. Let us not be so caught up with the scare of the scamdemic or the pandemic or whatever it is that this COVID-19 is supposed to be, with all the anomalies that are unfolding before us. Let us remember, brothers and sisters, the nature of the beast that has unleashed the Ma'afa upon us. The Ma'afa means colossal human destruction. The destruction of African humanity for the last 500 years. They have always played tricks of all kinds, whether it's giving smallpox vaccines, smallpox blankets laced with smallpox to the indigenous people of the land we now call America, or whether it's unleashing vaccines in Africa, in areas that are now riddled with AIDS, whether it's the Tuskegee experiment, where they experimented on black men for 40 years, 1932 to 1972, with syphilis. We have a history with these people that is not a pretty history. And we must therefore scrutinize and interrogate everything that they bring before us, no matter how powerful the propaganda. The Hegelian dialectic is real. They know how to generate fear. They know how to create a problem so that we will turn to them to solve that problem. And in that way, they can control us for their own inimical purposes, but with our consent, because we have run to them. It's a trick that they have used on us. And we must be wise to the trick. And even in this time of COVID-19 propaganda, we must be critical. We must be vigilant. Take nothing, brothers and sisters, on the face of it. So I close by refocusing us on Kwanzaa 6260. This is the year 6260 now, not 2020, 6260. Let this be the year that we are going to rise above the scourge of COVID-19 propaganda. We're going to think clearly. We are not going to let anything interfere with our Kwanzaa celebration, but we must celebrate Kwanzaa in its true form and for its true meaning. Kwanzaa inspires us to do. Kwanzaa inspires us to work. Kwanzaa inspires us to build. Kwanzaa inspires us to produce. Kwanzaa inspires us to create for ourselves, to do for ourselves, in order that we may be empowered for our total liberation. I close, beloved brothers and sisters, with the words of the most eminent prophet and king. If I am anything, I am a Garveyite. I close in honor of his seed that has recently ascended to the realm of the ancestors. May the ancestors gather around him and give him safe ascendancy into their realm. And may he rise like Ra on the wings of Ma'at after a favorable judgment in the council of Asar. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe! Amen Ra, it is done. In the words of his illustrious father, the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Tendai Mwari, Rumbidzo Kuna Mwari ye Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari.